Hello everyone and welcome to Awakening the Blog. Here I am at the Metropolitan Park, the wild side of the Metropolitan Park. This is the place where we normally get together for meditation. I'm here with Maria Esther, who brought me this wonderful Fruchtete that says Fühl dich wohl, which means so you can feel better. It's amazing tea. The focus on today's blog would be from knowing to being. And we can possibly think about the so many times that we have been able to advise somebody about an issue in their lives with such clear objectivity, and yet the same thing we cannot apply in our lives. Well, that's a common issue. That happens to most of us. I mean, we can have access to certain part in ourselves at specific moments where we can have so much a clear picture of something regarding somebody else. And that's why interaction with others could be so important. And yet, when it comes to apply those things in our lives, we cannot do them. So what's happening? Why is this? Why can we have access to so much knowledge, yet we lack the capacity to bring that knowledge into our lives? Well, the main thing that I see here is that one thing is knowledge, and another thing is wisdom. We acquire knowledge by reading books, watching TV shows, documentaries, by going to places and visiting places and, figuring out what has happened in that place. We acquire some knowledge. We can follow and read amazing spiritual teachings that we feel deep inside that they are right on, and this is what I'm looking for, this is what it is about, and we can connect to that and feel, okay, this spiritual text is what I really want for me in my life. Yet when it comes to our daily lives, the way we think, the way we feel, the way we behave could be very far away from those teachings. And that is why, I emphasize that knowledge is acquiring the awareness of something, but wisdom is becoming that something, is being that something. And there is a huge process that we go through from awareness to consciousness, as I have mentioned in other video blogs, as much as a huge process that we go from knowing into being, or from knowledge into wisdom. And I have in the video blog, in the blog in Spanish, I actually wrote an article about this, and in order for me to try to convey an image of this, I suggest that there's a bridge between these two worlds, and that we need to build a bridge to connect the worlds. And the first step in building this bridge is the self-healing of our emotional wounds. And I believe this is one of the major steps, and it's basically the structure of the bridge, because normally our emotional wounds determine a lot how we behave, determine our thought process even, because according to where we are wounded and how we are wounded, we are going to instinctively behave accordingly. And the wound, as long as it's not healed, works like a blinder in our capacity to see clearly what's the essential thing of everything. What's the essence of our being even? We are blinded to the essence of our being because we have not healed. And the wound is simply, I repeat it again, the wound acts as a blindfold. It totally behaves like a huge gray cloud in our mind. So we need to heal our emotional wounds in order for us to start building a bridge between the inner and the outer world, between knowledge and wisdom. Once we do this actual healing, suddenly we start awakening a connection to the subtle realms of our being. Because the matter, the physical body, is just one expression, the dense expression of our being. And this is where we work through all our lower expressions that we need to work through in order for the higher vibrations to manifest in this mundane level. So the mundane level are basically the physical body, the mind, the thought process, and the emotions, the feelings, the emotions we have. Those three levels are the levels that are governed by the ego. And the ego has a really amazing purpose in our life. It gives us our individual sense of existence, our personality, and that's the main function of the ego, to make us feel this individual being that we are separated and different from the others. And we need to develop that in order to live our lives as an individual. But when we start becoming more aware of our subtle realms, we realize that there's a higher purpose and there's a higher being that's also part of who we are. It's more essential even. The essential being that we are. It's what when we start looking and doing the inner work and we identify this inner part of ourselves, we feel that's more of our truth than just the ego part of our manifestation. And therefore, we need to work in aligning. Building the bridge is the aligning of the higher with the lower self. And people say, well, I don't know how to build a bridge. How do we go about building the bridge? Well, the first step is healing our emotional wounds. Then we need to open up through meditation or any kind of inner practice. I think meditation is the most amazing practice that we can cultivate to connect inside. And when we connect inside, we're going to start discovering things that are out of the physical realm. How can I put it in words? Wow, the things that come from the subtle world are unlimited. And they're going to come through our imagination and through our inner process. And yes, they might be out of the definition of our mundane world. But that doesn't mean that they are not true or that they are not real at that level. So we start discovering that, and little by little through our process of discernment, it's very important, that discernment process. We start, and the questioning, by the way, questioning and discernment are very important in this process because we start settling in the connection to the subtle realms, and then we start opening up, our mind, and so we can actually accept the things from other realms as part of our existence in this mundane world. And finally, when we start connecting to those realms and realizing who we truly are, we are able to manifest in total satisfaction, inner satisfaction and realization, which is even more than satisfaction, that sense of who we are. and we find happiness. We are looking for happiness. We're looking for peace, love, liberty, happiness. At the end of the road, all of those different words to describe different states of desires that we are looking for, happiness, peace, liberty, love, they are all one. They all become one thing, not separate things as we experience when we are lowering our vibration to the rational mind and the rational world. We need to differentiate things in order for our rational mind to understand. The abstract mind doesn't need this process. It just has a whole picture all at once. But we need to understand in the rational mind as when we go to the lower realms of our existence that are part of ourselves. We're not going to say, oh, that's not me. It's part of who I am. But in order for the whole of me to manifest, I need to build this bridge to connect the lower and the higher, to go from knowledge to wisdom. And this is a work with ourselves of every second of the day, every minute of the day, that we need to be in contact with that part of ourselves, and also realize the thought process, the emotions, and when we are able to observe the ego side of ourselves, and there's a strong impulse that makes us behave with the conditioning of the ego, then we realize there still needs work to be done in becoming the diamond that we truly are by working with the diamond in the rough. So I invite you to consider this idea of aligning, of building the bridge, of healing, of doing the inner practice, of opening up to the spirit world, and just follow your path. That's the most important thing. Everybody is going to awake to their inner reality, inner truth, by different means. Let's hope you are gentle on your process, and gentle with yourself and obviously with others, and you discover the wonderful being that awaits for you all the time, somewhere over there, deep inside. Thank you very much for listening to the vlog, and if you have any comments and questions, you can do them directly in the blog. I'll leave the link to the blog in the description area, and we'll be in contact. Until then.